Okay, we'll get started. So good morning to everyone here and those on Zoom. And who do we have with us on Zoom today, Alan? Let's see, we have Noreen and hopefully General. And yep, there he is. And we have Suzanne and Marty. And let's see, Dottie. And we have Sally. Hi, Sally. The red bloods are beautiful in the backyard. Sally's helped a lot with the trees, and there are some new babies coming from that one, so that's wonderful. So good morning.
General's shirt says just married.
Oh.
You guys just get married or something?
Just, yeah. Okay, so welcome to everyone, those that are here and those that are on Zoom. So yeah, it's good to see you all. Welcome to the gathering at Northern Hills, a Unitarian Universalist fellowship where we covenant to affirm and promote the 7 UU principles which you can find on the back of your order of service. In our living tradition, we draw on varied sources, including the mystery and the wonder of direct experience, wisdom from the world's religions, words, deeds of prophetic women and men, and humanist teachings. The gathering at Northern Hills has over a 50-year history, and presently we are lay-led. Lay leadership is both a privilege and a responsibility. This morning, when Tom and I got here, already Alan was here with things set up and getting ready, and he's here almost every single Sunday, and thank you so much, Alan, for all you do. And then we have Mel and Becky who were greeting us at the door, and we had Rose and Sue who were scurrying around in the kitchen getting everything ready for hospitality afterwards. So there are many, many people who make this service happen. So thank you so much. Tomorrow is a special day. In honor of my birthday, the moon will block the sun along a 115-mile wide path. In Cincinnati, it will be from 1:52 and end at 4:24. There's a good chance it will be cloudy. So we can tune in to NASA's live streaming of the event. Recently, I have been wondering what it was like for people before we had telescopes and live streaming, or any streaming. Like our ancestors in the cave woman days of the Middle Ages or the Middle Ages. One day you got up, you went about your day, and all of a sudden the sun started to disappear. Maybe you sacrificed a chicken to the sun god, and voila, the sun reappeared. Think of all the things that have happened to get us from there to the future where we are today. On Friday nights, I like to watch Firing Line. This week, the guest interviewed was Ari Wallach. Ari is a futurist. I didn't even know there were such things. How many kids do you know who say, "Mommy, when I grow up, I want to be a futurist"? Ari has a new TV show on PBS titled A Brief History of the Future, where he's exploring some of the things that he thinks will make history. He wants us to think of futuring as a verb. What kind of futuring got us from being clueless about eclipses to being able to say exactly when and where eclipses will be? How to protect our eyes, how to stream it, all those things. Wallach says we are not hurling towards some out there future, but we are creating it. We are creating it with every decision we make. Nonetheless, often we do not have a goal, so we don't know where we're going. Our opening words today from Chief Luther Standing Bear and from our speaker, Tom Lotman, both have some thoughts on how we could do futuring. what we might do. And also, because we can't create the perfect, we sometimes stop. We lose our agency. Walt gives us several suggestions. First, he says, seek to build a protopia, a better, not a perfect world. Utopia being a perfect. We're only going for better, so protopia. Just strive to leave the world better than you found it. Second, he says, use cathedral thinking. Way back in the days before eclipses were forecast, our ancestors planned cathedrals, laid cornerstones, and spent their lives working on edifices that would never be finished in their lifetimes. They would never pray in them. But future generations would, with a renewed sense of hope, agency, and awe for what tomorrow might bring. Let's ask ourselves, how can we make the world a little better? How can we become great ancestors for future generations? I believe that some of the reasons we come to GNH on Sunday mornings is to explore how we can use spirituality to build a better future. Today, Tom Lotman will speak on character strengths, a mirror for ourselves and a window into our children. Next Sunday, April 15th, Les Tacey will present What You Have, Living a Simple Life in a Complex World. And on April 21st, in observance of Earth Day, the GNH Garden team will bring us up to date on this important initiative. There will be a dedication of the garden and a community potluck. This is a busy week. The Tuesday discussion group will meet April 9th from 3 to 4 on Zoom. Lunch for Lighthouse Youth is April the 10th. See Cheryl to donate food. The next book club meeting is May 5th, and the book is Lunching with Ruth by Nina Totenberg. The GNH Care team would appreciate any cards that you might want to donate. If you notice, there's a basket in the back of the sanctuary, and that's the place to put them. And now our opening words by Chief Luther Standing Bear, who is a Sioux. There are two systems of thought that are available for us to choose from. One is the love thought system, and the other is the fear thought system. If we choose love, we will see the laws, principles, and values of the Creator. If we choose fear, the results will be so paralyzing that it will cause us to take over and not rely on the Great Spirit. The fear thought system will automatically cause attack, conflict, need to control, fault finding, and the need to have control over others. The love thought system seeks peace of mind, unity, and causes us to be love seekers. Now we'll have the lighting of the chalice, and Sue, please, if you would do that, thank you.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Now we'll have music to prepare the mind. Number 97 in the living tradition. No, it's 95 in my, but it says 97 there. You're close.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
Feel free to drop some.
Sometimes I feel motherless child, a long way from home, a long way from home. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. A long way from home. A long way from home. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. A long way from home. A long way from home.
For all those things that remain in our hearts. Okay, and now we'll say our unison affirmation.
Please
We
join if
pledge
you're
to
willing and
create-
able in our unison affirmation.
Oh, sorry.
We pledge to create a welcoming community that celebrates human diversity, encourages spiritual growth, fosters responsiveness to our world, and commits to the future of all children.
All right. He was speed talking, yeah. Okay, there we are. And now, I don't think I have to say much about Tom, but Tom certainly had done a lot of work in character strength and character resources, and has a chapter on it, which has been cited in many, by many other people using the work. And today he is going to speak on character strengths. So without much ado, there we are.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I was listening to the words. Sorry. Is that better? I was listening to the words of the song of, sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Well, I was coming up here, and I was anything but motherless as I came up, and Ann looked at me and scolded me because I had egg in my beard. She wouldn't let me get up here until I went and washed it off, and I had this flashback to when I was going to serve Mass, and my grandmother found jelly on my face, and typical grandma, so thank you for not licking your finger. But there's something quite humbling about getting up to talk about character strengths, and you're scolded for having egg in your beard. Egg in your beer? Okay. I think I know everybody here, so welcome. Been here a long time. I want to talk about character strengths today. It's something that for the last 15 years I've been working on. Alan, if you can, and next slide, please. Recently, as Ann said, some of my work was captured. I was really pleased. It was selected for an international anthology of the top positive psychology interventions in the world. So that had to do a great deal with about how character strengths emerge in young children. But I wanted to start today with just some other thoughts about what's the role of character strengths and what role can they play in our own spiritual searching. So I want to start out and talk a little bit about my own reflections on religion and spirituality. And I see those as sometimes not even related. I see a real distinction between religion and spirituality. And when I think about where did religion come from? What role did religion play in the evolution of humanity? And if you look at some of the writings on it, folks will talk about how our ancestors developed religion to explain thunder. Had no idea where thunder came from. Had to do with somebody else that was up in the sky somewhere. John Tooby, who is an evolutionary psychologist, suggested that religion played a very critical role in how we developed cooperative communities. Because he suggested that our forebears really were quite competitive, quite aggressive, and we needed to create something that was watching us. His thesis is that people who watched, or who were watched, were good people. And so we had to create this watchful God looking at our behavior, judging, and the ability to be punitive to keep us good. And I'd like to suggest that religion thrived and now survives for kind of one single purpose, and that is to mitigate the effects of a primal fear that we all share. That primal fear is that we die. You know, that's the one inimitable truth of being human, is that you're born, you grow, and then you die. And religion serves to help us deal with that fear. Alan, can we have the next slide, please? So if we think about that primal fear, it's often disguised in other negative behaviors, whether it's indifference, we just don't care, we don't even think about those things, greed, pride, rage, magical beliefs, addiction. And what I would suggest to you is that we all have individual and very personal spiritual paths. And they're quite complex. But it's at its very core, the question that a spiritual path answers is, how do we move from fear to love and connection? That's what spiritual paths are designed to do in my mind. And if we look at dogmatic religions, and some of you have heard of Richard Dawkins, who's the biologist and premier atheist, if you will. And he suggests that in dogmatic religions, they fight each other in wars and kill each other's children over whose imaginary friend is better. And I think that's part of the problem with dogmatic religions, is it has to keep us fearful, and it has to keep us believing that there's one way to survive the very fact that we die. Another way to think about the movement along a spiritual path is the psychologist David Bakken suggested that we're a combination of two primary motives: an agentic motive that has to do with self-preservation, and a communal motive that has to do with helping others. In that we have to keep that agentic and the communal in balance. There's a wonderful old Yiddish proverb that says, "If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? But if I'm only for myself, what am I?" And I think that's a very old way of thinking about how to keep a balance of the agentic and the communal. And what I'm going to suggest today is that the way to stay on that spiritual path is getting in touch with some primary character strengths or virtues. These are the 6 virtues under which the character strengths fall. And being mindful of our own individual signature strengths, developing them and deploying them in the way we live is the best way to move from fear to love and connection. I was just reflecting a couple weeks ago, some of you may have seen it, PBS ran a 2-hour-long feature on Dante and his writing of the Divine Comedy. And it was incredibly powerful. And if some of you are familiar with the Divine Comedy, you know that there are basically 3 books: the Inferno, the Purgatorio, and the Paradiso. And Dante has different guides that bring him through all of these. And it occurred to me, Virgil is his first guide. And Virgil takes him to hell, okay? To the Inferno. The Inferno is the first place that Dante must visit. And I thought, that's not a bad way to think about a spiritual path. Let's get down to what the hell are we afraid of? What are we scared of? What do we suffer? What do we torture ourselves about? And that's where Dante starts and makes his path up to paradise, love, and connection. So that's kind of some thinking about religion, where it comes from, spiritual paths, and character strengths, and their importance to the spiritual path. So let me talk a little bit about where character science comes from, how it developed. Writings about character are thousands of years old, but the study of character strengths in science dates back to about 20 years ago. A guy by the name of Marty Seligman became president of the American Psychological Association, and in his inaugural address, he said, look, we spend a lot of time and using a lot of science to figure out what goes wrong with people. What is mental illness? What is psychopathology? We've done a lot of study of that. We haven't applied rigorous science to what goes right with people. What's a good life look like? What does well-being look like? Why don't we apply science to study what goes right with human beings rather than what goes wrong with human beings? So that's how the field of positive psychology was born. And one of the 3 pillars of positive psychology is character science. Seligman, Peterson, and others wanted to take a look at, are there character strengths that are immutable, unchangeable across time and space? And so Seligman and Peterson put together a team of 53 psychologists who spent 3 years reviewing all the literature they could find that mentioned character. And they found that if we look at all those writings from the ancients to modern times, from across the globe, they identified 24 strengths that were consistent through all those writings. The next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so these are the 24 strengths here. And I'm not going to go through each one, but I am going to talk about them. Each of these character strengths fall under one of 6 virtue categories: wisdom, courage, justice, temperance, transcendence. And if you look at those character strengths, what I really want you to do is to really be self-reflective now and say, okay, what's me? Which of these strengths are my big ones? So under wisdom, creativity, curiosity, love of learning, perspective, and this is more like fairness. Courage is bravery, perseverance, honesty, enthusiasm, humanity, love, kindness, social intelligence, justice, social responsibility, teamwork, fairness, leadership, temperance. I can't read that, and I forget. Oh, sorry, great. Forgiveness is one of my lowest strengths, so. Humility, yeah, if you get egg in your beer, you're really good at humility. Prudence and self-control, and then transcendence, appreciation of beauty, gratitude, optimism, humor, and spirituality. So those are the 24 strengths, and I'm going to suggest some ways of getting in touch with them, but one of the best ways I would suggest, I don't know if I've got that slide up there. Next slide, please. Oop, nope. Back a slide for me, okay. If you just Google the VIA Institute, you can go on that and take for free the VIA survey, which will identify your signature strengths. Over 30 million people worldwide have taken the VIA survey. And there's literally dozens, well over 70 professional articles that have shown the validity of the VIA survey. Let me get back here. I have 7 minutes? That's because you took all my time. 7 minutes, okay. Maybe 10. All right, so then I just skipped half of what I'm going to do. The way I think about character strengths, first of all, is I see them really tied very closely to our 7 UU principles. I think there's an incredible fit between those 24 character strengths and how it keeps us on those 7 principles. I also come to think of character strength as redundant. I think character is strength and strength in character. And next slide here, Brian, and you guys are going to meet Sister Mary Stevens. I know it's hard to believe looking at me now, but when I was in the 5th grade, I was kind of an 80-pound weakling, shy, and there was a bully in my class, Billy Cole, and he just intimidated me and my shy friends. And one day he came up and started shoving us around, and I managed to grab him and spin him around and got him in an arm lock behind his back, and he couldn't get out. And, you know, he could routinely beat me up, and so I think both he and I were pretty surprised that I had him in this arm lock and there was nothing he could do about it. And I really felt kind of strong. I felt powerful. I also found myself scared to death because I knew there would come a time when I would have to let go and then he'd kill me. So I kept looking over at Sister Mary Stevens, who normally would show up with a ruler and stop any fight. But she caught my eye and then looked away and totally ignored what was happening. And I think she was really kind of secretly delighting in the fact that the tables were turned for the first time in a long time. And later that day, she came up to me and talked to me and asked me how I feel, and I said, you know, I felt strong and powerful, and I didn't tell her I felt scared shitless, but she said to me, she said, well, what can you do about it? And I said, I don't know. And she said, well, why don't you go to Billy and apologize for holding him in that. And so I did later that day, and Billy punched me in the stomach harder than I've ever which is probably why, or the first time I began to question Catholic approaches to life, I think. Boy, I'm gonna skip. No, I screwed up the last time doing that. I want to talk a little bit about kind of the struggles with getting in touch with your strengths. Part of the struggle is we're all strength blind. We don't pay attention to our strengths. Our brains have evolved to really focus on the negative. There's a negativity bias, and we're easy to get in touch with our fears, easy to get in touch with what we see as our failures. But we do a lot of work on character strengths with teachers, and almost invariably teachers will tell us, nobody's ever talked to me about my strengths before. And I don't even know that I'm comfortable talking about my strengths. I'm going to skip that. Okay. So part of the struggle with a negativity bias is, how do we let go of those fears? How do we let go of those negative thoughts? There's a wonderful Buddhist parable that you might have heard of, the parable of the monkey hunter. And this guy comes along and he sees this hunter building a cage. And he looks at the cage and he said, there's no door, there's no way of getting into the cage. How's it work? And the hunter said, well, wait, I'll show you. So he throws a banana between the bars in the cage, and they will hide in the bushes, and a monkey comes, sees the banana, reaches in, but the bars are so close together that if he grabs the banana, he can't get his arm out because he couldn't even get it in unless he turned it. So he has to let go of what's entrapping him in order to get free. And that's like we do with our negative thoughts, what we do with our fears. We hold on to them, and that's what entraps us. And all we have to do is let go. So one more thing I want to talk about, and that is strength overuse. Oh, I wanted to say too, so one thing I would suggest doing is every day at bedtime, end your day with just reflecting on, when did I feel best today? When was the best part of my day? And then think about, what was inside of me? Well, did I persevere in getting the oven cleaned? Did I really use my humor? So think about your use of character strengths and end each day with that. Strength overuse. There's a, can we go to the next slide, please? Another one. Another one. We'll skip another one. Okay. There's strength overuse. My top signature strength is love of learning. And I really can overuse that in a way that really, you've never gotten aggravated with my overuse of love of learning? Never, yeah. Well, except for one time. Ann wanted to read a poem to me about John O'Donohue, and it was a poem about a Mexican Aztec god. And I immediately went into a whole description of that Aztec god, stopped her from even reading the poem. And then on her forehead, there was pimples that broke out that said, shut up. So you can really easily overuse your strength. So, well, one thing that I want to add before we switch, there's a 3-minute video I want to show. Today, you know, there's an old saying that for the cynic knows the price of everything but the value of nothing. And so I'd like you to think about today, what would be worth doing? What would be worth it to me to do today? If it's to stop and look at a redbud tree, if it's whatever, and reflect on how you use your signature strengths. Just do that today, and that'll change how you use strength. I did want to suggest, and I'm going to ask Alan to play a short video, and this is by a friend of mine, Ryan Nemick, who is really one of the founders of character science and who travels the world. And I want him to introduce something I might suggest that we do here at the Gathering at Northern Hills. So if you can play the video, please.
Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Ryan Nemick, Chief Science and Education Officer of the VA Institute. You know, I created MBSP about 12 years ago. And if there's one thing that I've learned in that time, it's that mindfulness and character strengths are much stronger together than they are apart. We know this practically speaking, and we know this scientifically. I've been privileged to lead more than 20 cohorts or groups in the MBSP process. And what I really love seeing is when people begin to make shifts. You know, I observe these changes that people make. I see their eyes lighting up during the activities, and I see kindness and humor emerging within the small group activity. I see people that were initially quite shy or not wanting to share much, suddenly feeling activated and zestful and connecting with other people and wanting to really express themselves fully. And I see this in so many different ways in each group. And that just makes me happy, quite frankly, to see that. Because I know then that there's great potential that that person is going to bring what they've learned in MBSP right into their daily life. They're going to bring that mindfulness and character strengths right into their work life, their school life, their social life, their relationship and personal life. And so that makes me happy. That's exciting to know that there's going to be more hope, more self-regulation, more teamwork, more zest, more creativity being expressed in different places throughout the world. And really, that is how we approach and teach MBSP and mindfulness and character strengths, that it's our life that's the practice. So when we see the smile on our loved one's face and and you feel the movement of your body as you walk across the kitchen, and you taste the texture of the fruit that you've been snacking on, you observe the kindness or the bravery in your colleague, you know, these moments are those moments for mindfulness. These are the moments for bringing forth our character strengths. So anything in our life is possible with our mindfulness and character strengths. And in MBSP, we offer a real wide range of activities. We think of this as your MBSP toolbox. It's a toolbox of resources that build off one another from week to week. More than 30 such tools, such as mindful listening with character strengths and using character strengths to mindfully attend to your problems, using mindfulness and character strengths to pause for 15 seconds to recalibrate yourself at different points during the day, and on and on. And so really, this becomes not only a collection of great life strategies and ways that you can manage stress and build well-being, but they become a way of being in the world, being mindful, returning to the present moment, and living your character strengths. Welcome to MBSP.
Okay, one of the things I would just like to end with and suggest is MBSP, a mindfulness-based strength practice, is an 8-session course. Ryan and I have published together. We've done MBSP with teachers. And if you took the MBSP course at the Institute, it's $500. What I'm suggesting is, if there's interest, we do it free here, 8 sessions by Zoom. I'll even give you a free copy of Ryan's book. The 8 sessions are mindfulness and autopilot, how we often tend to just live our lives on autopilot. The second session is how do you get in touch with your signature strengths. Third session, obstacles or opportunities. How do you really transform what you see as barriers into opportunities? Session 4, strengthening mindfulness in everyday life. Session 5, valuing your relationships as a way to exercise character strengths. Section 6, mindfulness, the golden mean, mindful strengths use. 7 is authenticity and goodness. and 8 is your engagement with life and wrapping everything up. So if there might be any of interest, talk to me, email me, or whatever. And with that, thank you for your attention, and if we have any questions or discussion. There's one. He is living authentically. Okay, thank you.
Will you tell them a little bit more about how to get on the VIA, and it's just, how many questions is it?
A gazillion.
No, it isn't that many.
It's a lot.
Oh,
It's about 160.
I thought it used to be.
Well, there's a shortened version now.
How many is the shortened? We did the shortened version as a family one day when we were all together, all 12 or 13 of us. Everybody did it, and then it was really fun to be able to kind of share what everybody's strengths were.
Yeah, if you just go to www.viainstitute.org or just Google VIA Institute or VIA Survey, you'll get to it. Now, you'll get immediate feedback on what your signature strengths are. And then it's going to tell you, you can do a deeper dive with a coach for just $50. Don't do it, okay? Just getting the information about your character strengths, enough for you to start that reflection.
I was telling Tom before we started that the Emeriti Association that I'm a member of at UC has mindfulness by Zoom every Monday. So it's something that some people like to do every day. So, interesting. Okay. Oh, one on Zoom.
Thank you, Alan.
Suzanne, go.
Tom, thank you. You always give us an awful lot to think about. And I'm interested in the VIA, and I'm also interested in the MBSP. I'm not sure I have the initials right, mindful based. I think that's an interesting idea about that course. And so I'm going to go out on a limb and say, the next time you come to Second Tuesday, I know you come very often, we can give you more than the 20 minutes you had this time. So that would be nice to hear more about it. Thank you.
I'd enjoy that. Tell her I said it.
Yeah, he said he would enjoy that, Suzanne. Thank you. Good.
Tom, how much time commitment with the Zoom things for the 8 sessions? Each session, how much time?
About an hour and 15 minutes.
Hour and 15 minutes per session. Well, some people have time constraints, so.
Sure, yeah. And there's a little bit of homework as well to prepare for each session, whether
Yep.
it's just some exercises to reflect on your strength use.
Okay, an hour and 15 minutes, and we're going to get to you in just a minute.
Well, no,
Noreen
Noreen
and General,
Noreen-
but an hour and 15 minutes for those who didn't get it, the timing, and there's a little bit of homework.
Noreen? Or General, either one.
What was the title of the book?
What was the title of the book?
It's mindfulness and character strengths.
Mindfulness and Character Strength.
And
Thank you.
I've got a ton of copies, so don't buy it.
Free book.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you. All right. Okay. And now we're going to have a musical reflection, Little Light One by Floor.
This is how it goes with myself unknown. I keep running far too fast and know. Can I stop to rest my bones? Living what I've done and trusting what's to come. Can I show myself a bit of grace? Can I give it up again? Here, little I want. Please accept my part, and I should listen. I should live for the moment. So let's start again. Hey, little light one, don't let up that I want it. I can find it. I just need to be reminded. Little light one, I'm a little scared walking here with you. It's a brand new world I never knew, and in the strange comfort too. Do they know you like you need it? You can't release control. Do they see what you have always known? Hey, little light one, please accept my body. I should listen, I should live for the moment. So let's start again. Hey, little light one, don't let up that I want it. I can find it. I just need to be reminded. Little light one. Little light one, please accept my body. I should listen, I should live for the moment. So let's start again. Hey, little light one, don't let up that I want it. I can find it. I just need to be reminded. Little light one. Hey, little light one, please accept my body. I should listen, I should live for the moment. So let's start again. Hey, little light one, don't let up that I want it. I should find it. I just need to be reminded. Little light one.
Right. Thank you so much for everybody who, thank you very much for everybody who helped keep the lights on and do all the wonderful things that are happening here. Okay, now it's time when we share our joys and sorrows, sharing them in community.
I did it already.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Cheryl.
I just started my job a week and a half ago, and I'm loving it. I'm going to be so happy there. I'm really excited, and they're incredibly flexible. But right now, I have a course that I'm teaching on Wednesdays at 1:45, and that's really close to Lighthouse. Serving. So I need some help with serving April and May. After that, they said they will change my schedule at work so I can do it, which I think is great because, yeah. So if I could have some volunteers for this Wednesday, I will still cook. Everything will be ready. I just need somebody to go down and do the serving. Excuse me. So it would be this Wednesday. And we start serving at noon, so I can get the food to you on Tuesday. It's only about 45 minutes of work, just serving the kids and or young adults. And I would also probably need some help. I think it's the 8th, May 8th. So if you can give me let me know, or I'm the point person now, so just let me know if you can help, because I don't currently have anybody to serve on Wednesday. But come June, I'll take it back over 100%. Thank you. And you said your birthday's tomorrow?
It is.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
To you, happy birthday, dear friend. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that took away the joy that I was going to talk about, but just there's a conspiracy theory that's circulating that the earthquake in New York was 4.8 on the Richter scale, the apocalypse is 4.8, and Ann's birthday is 4.8. So those three ominous events, be afraid.
No, it's sheer power.
Well, it was also caused by communism. Communism, some Republicans said communism. I do have a sorrow. I think I spoke last week about my brother. He did pass on
Oh, so sorry. So
Monday.
sorry.
I think it was Monday. Got a call, so it's for the best. So he
Sorry.
lived a hard life and paid for it.
Yeah. Okay, on,
He was 84. It's not like he was, 25.
no, wait a minute, I'm 81. Okay, Noreen.
Noreen has, go ahead, Noreen.
My joy is we're Zooming today because we are downtown. I'm gonna stand up.
Oh,
If you can see it.
I just married 60 years ago.
61 years ago, it says. Just married. 61 years ago.
Congratulations, wonderful. So this is their anniversary, 61 years ago. So they do have just married on. Yeah.
Today, and thank you. We're gonna go to the museum today. We spend 3 days down here every year, actually on our anniversary, but this year's special. So anyway, we're out and about.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Have a great day.
By the way, Tim, I'm 83.
Right. Oh, yes. Okay, Tim. And General wants you to know is 83. So there.
Ruth on Zoom, were you waving your hand?
Oops. Yeah, she is, but she's trying to find the mute button. No. Okay. No. Yeah. And there's sheer joy. How do we lose all that as we get older, I say? Okay, our closing hymn is Answering the Call of Love.
1, 2, 3, 4. The promise of a spirit, faith, hope, and love are. And so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our God.
Thank you, Michael. All right. Our closing words today are by Martin Seligman. The good life consists of deriving happiness by using your signature strengths every day in the main realms of living. The meaningful life adds one or more component, using these same strengths to forward knowledge, power, or goodness. And I told Tom that I was a little bit disturbed by the power part, but I read a book recently that talked about when women are elected to office and gain power, the power can be used to change great things. And they look a lot at poverty and children and other kinds of things. So power can be a very positive force. And it's that we should be able to use our power in that way. So may we go out today and think a little bit about how can we use those character strengths and become great ancestors for future generations. Thank you. Okay. And that's the end. We don't have music today, so.